Before today's episode comes to an end, here's John Barclay, Blue Coal's heating expert.
Thank you, Ken Roberts, and good evening, everyone. Every fall and winter, thousands upon thousands of people burn up money needlessly in heating their homes. They pile on excess coal in their efforts to get satisfactory heating results, and never realize that their furnace is to blame for their failure.
Announcer Ken Roberts.
Another well-known character on The Shadow was John Barclay, the eminent heating expert who came on to the show every Sunday right after at the very end of the show to give his heating advice. And the part of John Barclay was played in those early days by a wonderful old actor by the name of Tim Frawley. Tim had been a star for many, many years on the stage, not necessarily on the Broadway stage, but on stages all over the United States. He was what was known then as a stock actor. We had stock companies then all over the country, and Tim Frawley was one of the most popular of all the stock company stars. By the time I met him, of course, he was already an old man, but a dear, sweet old man, and we all enjoyed working with him on The Shadow. There came a time when Tim had to leave. He got just too old to do the part, and he was replaced by Paul Huber, whom I think continued to be John Barclay until the very, very end of the run of The Shadow.
Sonically, The Shadow's power to cloud men's minds was obtained by the use of a filter microphone, a device that can be adjusted to selectively attenuate measured amounts of the lower vocal frequencies. In the story Guest of Death, for example, the Shadow allows himself to materialize into Lamont Cranston before the very eyes of that particular week's guest maniac. As Cranston materialized, the sound engineer progressively withdrew the filter microphone effect.
Enough of that now. Lie down. Chicken-hearted old hound. Just like a human, you fear death, too. That fool Mr. Cranston I sent to eternity today, he was afraid of death. But that didn't save him. He's no more. He's dead. And I'll send many others after him. What was that? Who's there? Who's out there? Is that you, Mort?
No, Kesey. Mort is well down the hill now. There's nobody out there. I'm right here, in your house. Right here in the room with you.
I know where you are. You're in this house.
You see, I'm not in the closet. I'm right here, behind you.
Who are you? What do you want?
You, Kesey. I've come for you.
Don't you touch me. Don't you come near me.
Surely you're not afraid of death.
Death?
Remember, only fools fear death, Kesey.
Get out. Get out. I'll brain you. I'll kill you here.
You have a poor aim, Kesey.
Get out. Get out.
You see, it's useless, Kesey. You can't destroy what you can't see.
Why have you come here?
To end your criminal career.
I've committed no crime.
I'm going to make you confess to the murder of those innocent visitors at the prison.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You cannot lie to me. I know. You killed those men in cold blood.
That's a lie.
I'll admit you're clever. You did your job with fiendish genius. But you're at the end of your rope, Kesey. The only hope left for you is to confess and clear your soul.
Oh, no, I'll admit nothing. Leave me alone. I won't confess.
Oh, yes, you will. I'm not through with you yet. Look, Kesey, in this corner of the room. Right here. That's it. Now watch carefully, and you'll see someone you met not many hours ago. Look, Kesey. Look.
Cranston.
There. Now you see standing before you the man you strapped in the chair a few hours ago.
Go away. Go away. You're dead. You're dead.
Confess, Kesey.
I killed you. You're dead.
Confess.
I won't. Go away.
Confess.
Wait.
Confess.
All right. I did it. I killed him. But I'll never be taken alive. Never.
But in the story Ghosts Can Kill, technical problems arose, and Cranston, after fluffing a line, was forced to begin his shadow routine filterless.
Stop the car. Let me out.
I'll let you out, all right, in 10 feet of water when we get to the river.
No. Let me out.
You didn't let me out of the chair, did you, Governor? I burned, remember? Well, you'll drown.
Stop the car. Stop it, I say. You'll kill us both.
You can't kill a dead man, can you, Governor? The old fool went and croaked by himself. Scared to death. It saves me the trouble.
I wouldn't be too sure of that, Gorman.
Hey, what's that?
Governor Roberts is unharmed. He's only fainted. He has a weak heart.
Who's that? Where are you?
You didn't know you had the Shadow as a passenger.
Oh, the Shadow, huh? Well, you can't hurt me. Even a Shadow can't harm a goat.
But you're not a ghost, Gorman.
Yeah, that's what you think. Don't you know that Ralph Gorman is dead?
Certainly. But you're not Ralph Gorman. You're his twin brother, Arthur.
That's a lie.
No, it isn't, Arthur. I went down to the city records office and checked up on the birth certificate. A very pretty little story. Your mother had twin boys and concealed the fact from everyone. She brought you two up deliberately for a life of crime. Very convenient, wasn't it, Arthur? No matter what crime one of you committed, the other was always seen somewhere else at the same time to furnish a complete alibi.
Yeah, I'm Arthur Gorman.
In listing the titles of the hundreds of Shadow scripts broadcast over the years, 4 words abound conspicuously: murder, death, kill, and ghost. Without trying to oversimplify, it must be admitted that most Shadow scripts were variations on or combinations of 4 basic plots: the mad scientist's quest for power, the quest for revenge, the old dark house mystery, and the vulnerability plot in which Cranston's powers as the Shadow are either challenged or threatened with public exposure. A few moments ago we heard an excerpt from Guest of Death. If you don't recall how the villain met his end, we'll refresh your memory.
All right, I did it, I killed him. But I'll never be taken alive, never! Never! Ah!
This type of ending was not unusual in Shadow melodramas. Here is a cut from Spider Boy, a creepy tale about a reclusive young man who fancies himself a spider with the ability to spin a web.
Oh, I didn't mean to intrude.
Come in.
Oh,
The room looks familiar, doesn't it?
why, yes.
Come in and see.
I have been here before.
The day you brushed down all my spider webs.
Yes, the spider
The day
web.
you killed a spider, my only friend.
How did you know?
I know more than you think.
Don't close that door.
You came here when you were not wanted that day. Now you'll find out some things you won't want to know.
You're mad.
Look, see the new webs in the corners? See? Those webs I have spun since you killed my spider.
You are insane. Completely insane.
When my spider friend died, she left her secret with me.
Let me go.
Watch me closely. Watch. See the steel like thread as I spin it?
Let me go.
See? I'm going to spin a web to hold you. Hold you tight.
Stop.
You die if you kill my spider.
No.
Spin it around you, up and down, and around and around. Tighter and tighter. You're going to die. You're going to die. Never again. Who opened the door? Who's there?
Shadow, Spider Boy.
I don't see anyone. Where are you?
You'll never find me, Spider Boy. You can't spin your web around thin air.
Help. Please help.
Miss Lane. There you are.
You've torn my web from the girl. The web has fallen to the floor.
You see, Spider Boy, you have no magic.
I have. The spider left me her secret. I can spin.
You cannot spin. You're caught, Spider Boy, caught in your own web of insanity.
No. You'll never get me. I'll escape. I can leave like my spider, let myself down out of the window. I can spin strong steel fibers and let myself down.
Don't go out that window.
I'll show the whole world the secret the spider left me. Look!
Or how about Carnival of Death? By the time of its broadcast, we can only assume that the Mutual Network sound effects department had run out of windows for the villains to jump through.
Right this way, young lady. I shall entertain you in my private subway car.
No, I won't go in there. Let go of me.
Now, you mustn't behave that way. The other passengers won't like you.
Oh, Lamont!
He won't hear you, my dear. By this time, he's been swallowed up by the quicksand. Just as your friend, that detective, was earlier this evening.
No, that isn't true. Nothing's happened to him. Tell me that nothing's happened to Lamont.
Oh, he'll be in good company. There are many others in there, too, you know. Now, step into the car.
No, I won't. No, take your hands off of me.
Oh, you don't enjoy Pop Wright's hospitality, do you? Now, then I shall have to force you in.
No. Stop it.
There we are. Now, you must meet your fellow passengers.
Oh, how horrible. But they're dead.
Oh, some of them are, yes. The rest are merely wax figures from the museum.
There's the missing boy and girl. They're dead, too.
They're my newest passengers. They seem to like it here, too, sitting side by side.
Oh, it's terrible.
I must make room for you, my dear. I think that I shall give you seat 6. Yeah. That old woman that's sitting there now, I'm a little tired of her. I'm afraid she must join your friend in the quicksand.
Oh, no. No, you're mad. You're mad.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't say those things in front of my friends. You see, Louis, this wax figure here, he doesn't like it at all. Do you, Louis? Dear me, your tie is crooked again, Louis. I have to fix it.
I'm getting out of here.
Oh, no, please.
No, let's go.
No, you're staying here for a long time. A very long time.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? That knife. Put down that knife.
No, it'll all be over in a short time. Just stand
No.
there.
No.
Just stand
No,
there.
keep away.
No, soon you will.
Put down that knife, Pop Wright.
Oh, the shadow.
What was that?
Don't touch that girl.
Oh, one of the spirits. One of the spirits has returned to speak to me.
Yes, that's true. I am one of the spirits. The spirit of the man you just killed in the shooting gallery.
Oh, it's you, Fred. I'm sorry I had to do that to you, but you had learned too much about me and this rendezvous.
Why have you killed these people? Why have you brought them to this deserted tunnel?
I belong down here. You know that, Fred. I've been the motorman on this line since the first run. You remember that run, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, you know, too, that my wife and child were killed on that first ride. Killed on a train that I was driving.
Of course.
John Norcross put me on a pension. He thought that would make up for the loss of my wife and child. He made me a watchman. Yeah, thought he'd pay me off that way. But I fooled him.
Why have you killed these people?
I needed passengers. You can't run a train without passengers, can you? That's my job here, you know. John Norcross doesn't know it, but his subway line still operates. Yes.
How did you get these people here?
Oh, different ways. Some of them from the boat ride, some from the wax museum. They all take the nightly ride with me in the Midnight Express.
Those rides are all finished now, Pop Wright.
No, that isn't true.
I'll tell the police about them. They'll come and get you.
Oh, no, you
Put
wouldn't
you
do that.
away.
No, who would run the line? You don't mean that, I'm sure.
I'm taking you to the police right now.
Oh, no.
He's running out of the car.
Come back. Come back here.
Come and get me.
Look, he's opening a door in the wall.
That's where the quicksand is.
He's jumping into it.
The premise of some shadow scripts often lay somewhere between fascinating and ridiculous. For example, this cut from Death is an Art.
All right, Margot. Come in.
That was fast work, Lamont.
Watchman's in that little office back there, scared speechless.
Then he won't disturb us.
Not a chance. Come on. We'll have to work fast. They're going to take Pencil John out tonight.
Did you find out why?
No. But my guess is that Harper's afraid to have it around since it was recognized today.
Well, what'll they do with him, Lamont?
Destroy him, I suppose.
Oh, how horrible.
Horrible's hardly the word. You cold, Margot?
No, just nervous, I guess. An art gallery is certainly a spooky place at night.
Here we are, Margot.
Lamont, there's Pencil John.
Yes. Be interesting to see if Harper even worked out the fingerprints, too, eh, Margot?
That certainly would clinch your theory.
Well, let's see if he... Here you are, Margot. Look, the fingerprints are perfect. Have you got that sense? Pencil John's fingerprints?
Yes, right here, Lamont.
Good. Now we'll make a little comparison. Yeah. Take a look, Margot. The fingerprints match up perfectly.
Perfectly. There's no question about it. This is Pencil John. And all these other statues, They're real people, too.
Exactly.
But how could they do this, Lamont?
That I don't know yet, Margot. But I hope to soon.
Lamont, do you notice one feature that's characteristic of all these statues? I noticed it when I first saw them.
Yes. The look of horror on their faces. That what you mean?
Yes. Ghastly.
Hey, listen, Margot. Somebody's coming.
In the 40s, the physical dimensions of rooms must have been quite large. For as the killer approaches her, Margot Lane's retreating footsteps in Death is a Nursery Rhyme and The Terrible Legend of Crownshield Castle seem almost endless, as we'll hear in a moment. Earlier, we heard examples of one typical shadow ending, with the villain shouting, "You'll never take me alive," and then jumping from a window, or into quicksand. These next two cuts also illustrate another popular type of conclusion, in which the shadow gives the villain of the week a mini lecture on morality.
Another note?
Yes. And the odd part about it is, it's addressed to you.
To me?
Yes. Read it.
See, Saw, Marjorie Daw. Jackie shall have a new master. He shall have but a penny a day, because he can't work any faster. I don't understand.
Marjorie Daw. It's almost like Margot.
You mean the killer?
I'm afraid he means you, Miss Lane. Margot. Marjorie. Very close, aren't they? Close enough for all practical purposes.
Dr. Foster, why are you looking at me like that?
It's a nice rhyme, isn't it? It has a swing to it. See-saw, Marjorie Daw. Jackie shall have a new master. He shall have but a penny a day because he can't work any faster.
You're the nursery rhyme killer.
Yes, Miss Lane, I am. I love nursery rhymes. Old Mother Hubbard went to a cupboard to get a poor dog a bone.
Stay away from me.
Little Jack Horner sat in the corner eating his Christmas pie. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Peter, Pumpkin, eat up. These saw Marjorie. Who's in this room? I don't see anyone. Someone I can't see. Who are you?
You like to hear a little nursery rhyme, Dr. Foster?
Who are you?
I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me. What can be the use of him is more than I can see.
Stop!
Very, very like me from the heels up to the head. And I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed.
Stop it, I'm going mad.
You're mad already, Foster. Your mind has been clouded by the dark shadows you profess to study.
Who are you?
The shadow, Foster. The shadow here to see justice done.
Shadow?
You thought you could blame these murders on Bert and then on his father. You became so obsessed with his case that your own mind broke under the strain.
Let me out of here. I've got to get out of here.
No, Foster. The state has a place for you. A place where never again will you be allowed loose among society. A place where you can safely recite nursery rhymes to your heart's content.
I'll be safe down here, all right. One heavy door, stone walls. Kind of frightening, though. Just this one candle on an old wine cask. Who's that? Why, I wonder if that's Lamont back so soon. Let me in, please, let me in. Sounds like Sheila. She must be in trouble, maybe. Just a minute, Sheila, I'm coming. Sheila. Miss Lane, thank you for opening the door. I came down here to be safe. I guess that's the same reason you're here. Yes, it is. It isn't very cheery down here with only this one candle. Just so long as no one can get at us. That's the main thing. Yes, of course. This must have been a terrible ordeal for you, Sheila. Yes, it's been pretty much of a strain. First Bridget and then Henry and then... Oh, you do know about your brother, of course. Yes, I know about Brad. Terrible, wasn't it? Awful. What a shame for you. Yes, there's just Father and I left. And you two, of course. Mr. Cranston will see that your father's taken care of, Sheila. He'll arrange to have him sent away. Will he? Of course. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. How do you mean, glad? That's what I've been working for. That's why I persuaded you to spend the night here so that you would see Father as he really, really is. And then you would help me put him away. I see. That's why I've been taking care of Father so carefully lately. Giving him his medicine regularly. Sheila, please, you're getting yourself upset. Upset? You'd be surprised at how upset I can really get, Miss Lane. Sheila, I can get so upset sometimes that I think I have to get rid of everyone who discovers my secret. Sheila, stay away from me. And I will, too, if I have to. I'll kill all of you. And they'll say my father did it. They'll scream murder at him when he stands behind the bars of the asylum. Sheila, please. But I'll be safe. Nobody will know about me because none of you will talk. Get away! It's no use trying to get behind that wine cask, Miss Lane. I'm strong. Very strong. No, Miss Lane. No. My wrist. Who's holding my wrist?
Let go of that girl's throat. That's better, Sheila.
Shadow. You're back.
Yes, Sheila. Back to accuse you of being the terrible legend of Crownshield Castle.
No, it's my father. He's the one.
No, it's you who inherited the powerful madness. When you found the insanity coming over you, you tried to shift the blame to your father. Physically, but not mentally, the exact image of old Joseph Crownshield.
No, that's a lie.
It's the truth, Sheila. The Shadow has seen your father. I know you gave him drugs disguised as medicine, kept him locked in the stable when you wanted him out of the way.
All right, Shadow, I did kill them all. But you'll never hold me for those murders. I'm going out this door. It's locked.
The Shadow has the key.
I'll tear it off its hinges.
Not that door, Sheila.
Then I'll beat the walls and I'll beat them with my bare fist. Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
No, Sheila. You're not going out. Ever again. From now on, you'll stay inside. For the rest of your life.
Even more sermonic was the end of The Ghost of Captain Balow. Perhaps the writers had to justify the series' famous opening credo. These dramas are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay.
Can you make her out yet, Mr. Yandy?
Yes. Yes, she's a yacht. A rich man's plaything. It'll soon be his coffin.
They got the engines going again, sir.
Very well. Turn on the black beam. Short the motors.
Yes, sir. That's got him. She's helpless on a tie.
Now, turn on the magno beam. Magnetize the rudder.
Right. Got it.
Hold her on it. Steer the rudder toward the rocks on the north end of the island.
Yes, sir.
There. That's one more crew that will never be able to tell of the mineral wealth of this island.
Your secret is still safe.
I've guarded it for 18 years. Since the day I discovered it. No one will ever share the wealth or know it exists.
And another wreck will be chalked up to the ghost of Captain Balow.
Yes. Captain Balow has been the most convenient ghost. And most plausible one. Nobody ever doubts him, it seems. What was that?
Thought I heard a laugh.
I heard it. Have you the radio key open?
No, sir. I cut it before.
You're lying to me, you...
No, I swear I'm not, Mr. Yandy.
No, Mr. Yandy, this is not a voice you can cut off with a flick of a dial.
What? Who are you?
I am the Shadow.
The Shadow.
I've heard of him. He's the guy you can't see.
Your use of the Captain Balow legend is at an end, Yandy. You've created havoc with your diabolically clever electrical inventions. Like a monster, you've destroyed men because of your insatiable greed. Well, Yandy, this is your finish. The sea will be well rid of you, and poor Captain Balow will rest peacefully in his sea grave.
What's that?
The slaves. They've escaped from their dungeons.
Yes, Yandy, they're crawling out of the earth to vent their just hatred on you.
Turn on the heat ray. Burn them up. Burn them to a crisp.
Right. Tubes. They're all broken.
My equipment is ruined.
Completely, Mr. Yandy. My yacht is free of your clever magno beam, and those people down there will soon be done with you.
I'm getting out. Out of my way. You're not getting on that boat. You got hit in the cove without us. I don't care what happens to you. Take care of yourself.
Run, Yandy. The sooner to meet your doom.
Lamont, are you here? Oh, Lamont.
Yes, Margot. I'm quite all right.
Oh, thank heaven.
Look, Margot. The captives have taken their captor. They've got Yandy.
They'll tear him to pieces.
That would be little less than the fiend well deserves. But I suppose we'll have to try and save him for the law. Come along, Margot. No time to lose.
Well, we've got all those men you saved from the dungeons berthed below deck, Mr. Cranston. The poor devils don't know how to thank you.
Take good care of them, Captain.
Aye, ma'am.
Have you found out yet what happened to Yandy and his men, Lamont?
Yes, Margot. One of the men just told me. But he waited until we were well out to sea first.
What did they do with them?
Well, they didn't pitch them into the sea, as they told us. They locked them in their own dungeons. And it's too late for us to do anything about that now. So we'll have to leave Yandy and his Confederates to suffer, as long as their lives last. The terrible fate they designed for others.
We can almost wish for a villain who, when caught, says something like, "Please, Cranston, no lectures." Shadow expert Anthony Tolan.
Cranston had a strange group of friends. Margot should have headed for the hills whenever Lamont said he was going to introduce her to one of his old college friends, because it always turned out to be a maniac. Here's my old college professor. He can't walk, but his servant carries him around the room. Here's a fellow student of mine who had a horrible voice in college. Nowadays, he transplants vocal cords from mastiffs into little kittens. The Shadow so often featured these old dark house type stories. Our car has broken down, Lamont, but we're in luck. There's a light on in that house up on the hill. Now, the Shadow stories were noted as frequently having these totally unrealistic, horrifying plots. And you listen to the Orson Welles show. There's a month period in 1938 where there are 3 shows with unbelievable plots. One of them revolves around a religious cult that is taking in the teenagers of the town. These teenagers are joining this religious cult, and the townspeople are afraid of this cult leader. Another show that same month features a senator on trial because he's taken a $50,000 bribe and it's been filmed. Unbelievable in 1938. Another plot involves a deranged war veteran who has been taught to kill and gets up on building rooftops and starts firing at people on the street. I mean, now that could never happen in 1,000 years. I mean, who ever heard of such things happening in the real world? Well, maybe not in 1938, but you wait long enough and it's become our world. But those were all plots in a 1-month period of Orson Welles on The Shadow. You had then, as I said, the haunted house stories. You had the vengeance stories where you would have someone coming back supposedly after death to get the jurors and the judge and the district attorney who sent him to the death house. The Shadow was melodrama. I mean, no one is ever going to call The Shadow great drama, but it was great melodrama. You knew that when the car broke down on that lonely country road, or when you went for a reunion with your old college classmates, or when Margot went to visit her aunt on the bayou in Louisiana, something was going to happen. The early shows in the Orson Welles and the early Bill Johnstone era experimented a great deal with the Shadow's powers, particularly telepathy. In The Three Ghosts, the Shadow puts mental pictures into someone's mind. The Shadow continually can read minds at that period. He doesn't rely completely on invisibility. Later, the show becomes quite formularized. Gee, it's 15 minutes into the show. It's time for Margot to be captured by the deranged madmen we're looking for this week. The early shows experiment with the Shadow's power, finding new uses of the Shadow's powers. The later shows frequently work with the limitations of the shadow's powers. Yes, the shadow can cloud someone's mind so they cannot see him. But does that mean his footprints won't show up in plush carpeting? Yes, you can't see the shadow, but your electric eye on your door can see the shadow. Similarly, if you're filming, if you've got it in camera, the shadow can cloud your minds, but he can't cloud the camera's lens. All of these things were experimented, or were dealt with in later years of the shadow.
One aspect of radio production, often either overlooked or taken for granted, is the music that serves to set the mood of the story and bridges or connects one dramatic scene to another. One of radio's most famous musicians is Rosa Rio, today staff organist for the Video Yesteryear Company's reissues of vintage silent films. We recently caught up with Miss Rio between Charlie Chaplin two-reelers in the Video Yesteryear studios.
My first job in radio was The Shadow. We had an audience at that time, and that was something in that day and time, because they generally didn't want to ever have an audience for a radio show because actors didn't always resemble the character they were. In other words, you might find a young man 19 or 29 and he's taking the part of an 80-year or 90-year-old man. So rather than have audience in, we said no, so everyone would have their own picture in their minds. However, in The Shadow, the actors and all were wearing very subdued lights. And there were two microphones for The Shadow. And the time that he was The Shadow, and then when he was Cranston. So he would run over to the filtered mic, you see, and sometimes he wore a big hat and sometimes a dark over his eyes. So it kind of gave an illusion, but you didn't see it clearly. It wasn't like we had spotlights on us. Generally, the cast always had a rehearsal beforehand, but on Sunday we had the dress rehearsal, just one rehearsal, and that was quite usual for organists to save the money. They didn't pay for our rehearsals, where the cast would have extra rehearsals, you see, but they relied on an organist knowing his or her stuff and come in at the last minute and do it and save the rehearsal money. So, but generally we had a dress rehearsal, and that was it. And fortunately, they always placed the sound man near the organist. And we sort of worked in cooperation, you see, with each other, and we decided who would do this and who would do that, and that was a lot of fun. And I would say the sound man was very, very important on the show. He was very important. And the music is important. We were really a little surprised at recently 2 interviews on the Shadow, and not once was the music or the organ ever mentioned. And you know, today with all the little young people, all I have to do is to play the theme and they know it's The Shadow. Instantly, you see? And it identified with it. So the minute this starts, you see, that people say The Shadows. Little kids know that today. And yet not a thing is mentioned in the interviews of music and how important it was to set the scene and the mood. Emotionally, it's very important. I composed the bridges, and as a rule you had 10 seconds or maybe 8 seconds, and told that you must express the scene within that given time. Yet to get on the air, you might get the finger going round and round and round and telling you to move it fast. Or you might have gotten the stretch, pulling the hands apart, telling you, so the thing that you wrote out for 10 seconds turns out to be 15. Or the thing you wrote for 10 seconds turned out to be 4 or 6 seconds, meaning that I would have a little idea of what I wanted, but I had to be sure to improvise, to know how, that you just couldn't say I ran out of music or I don't have any more music. So you do have to improvise.
Rosa Rio recalls Brett Morrison.
Brett was a very, very unusual guy. He was wonderful. We had a great friendship, Brett and I. We both loved horses. And we used to go, when we could, we'd go up to Garrison, New York, and there was a big ranch there, and we would ride horses. And he had a lovely apartment on Central Park West, and he entertained beautifully, and he was wonderful to work with. We had a lovely time together and a lot of fun. I miss him. He is gone now. But he was a lot of fun. I never thought once that what would happen to The Shadow, that all these years would pass, and it's probably bigger than ever. I don't think that I was aware at any time in my life in radio that things would have turned out the way they did. Never once. I think we all, I would say in radio, probably we found the most dedicated actors and actresses and other people associated, of course, with it. Everyone was so dedicated, and none of us really, I don't think any one of us thought far ahead there'd be such a thing as TV and all these things ahead. But we thought we were riding pretty good. In fact, I was laughing and said, well, at last I found my niche for life. And when television came in, that blew the bubbles. No, we all were very dedicated, and we did our job because we really loved it. And the thing that was very wonderful about radio was, whether it's The Shadow or any of the many programs I played, we all worked together and felt like one big family. Since we talked about The Shadow, get nervous, here you go. Little Marco Lane in distress? Okay. Stings. Then you hear a scream and the door was slam, and that's it, right? We had a lot of fun with those things, and we still do.
We still do indeed. For although The Shadow ended its long run on the Mutual Network in December 1954, Charles Michelson has been syndicating recordings of the original broadcasts to radio stations since 1963.
There was a large in-car automobile audience who had been completely forgotten. And once we put on our radio dramas, and people were driving along the interstate highways or wherever, and turning the dial, when they would come to a story, they would stop and they would listen. And it wasn't very long after that when we found that the rating services, they picked it up. And that, as much as anything else I can think of, helped our placement of the radio dramas. We were able to establish not a pretty good, but a very good record of audience acceptance and ratings, which is what the stations and everybody goes by. So that today we are running in cities like Los Angeles, in Cleveland, in Philadelphia, in San Francisco, and in San Diego, in Syracuse, in the major markets around the country, and we're very selective.
And so The Shadow endures, perhaps somewhat diminished in popularity from that of its heyday, but nonetheless it remains an indelible part of American culture, ready to give exercise to our imaginations on demand. Where and when will it end?
The Shadow knows.